Obviously, a lot of names to replace on that defensive line, but getting ready for a new system anyway. Where do you see some of those young guys kind of stepping up on the D line?
You know, they're all working hard. I think we've had 8 really good practices, and they haven't been perfect. But, you know, like I said, you got to look at it from the perspective that, you know, there's new coaches, there's new scheme, new terminology. They got a crazy ball-headed guy yelling at them on the field. So they're kind of trying to figure things out on the run. But the work's been good. You know, it helps having some older guys like Ralph Green and Nate Hoff that, you know, have been around for a while. So, you know, they can kind of grab the younger guys, you know, by the heels and push them along a little bit. But, you know, there's some talent, and we just got to get better as a group. You know, I don't think we have any just pure standout, play every snap type of guys, but we have enough good players where, you know, we just got to all be working in the same direction. You know, I think a guy like McCray can be a really good player for us. Unfortunately, he's been a little nicked up. It's nothing serious, but he's kind of been out of commission a little bit, and that's allowed us to work. You know, some other guys, but again, they're all working hard. You know, Jacob Robinson, Nate Hoff, Ralph Green. I think some of those guys are kind of jumping out in front. Then you got a couple guys that have been hybrid guys like Niall Sykes and Greg Gooch that, you know, they've been up front a little bit, but they've probably been more, you know, linebacker type guys. So they're learning to have their hand in the ground a little bit more often. So I say it's been really good so far. We're making progress. The nice thing is when we watch video, we're doing some good things, and we can be so much better. We're not even scratching the surface yet. So, been pleased so far. We just got to finish it up here strong the next couple of weeks.
What's sort of the background with Coach Allen? It sounds like there's, you know, you haven't worked together, but there's a connectivity between the two of you that allows you guys to kind of hit the ground running.
Sure. Well, I've known Tom for a long time, ever since he started as an assistant at Ben Davis and then took over as a head guy. And our paths crossed when he was at Ole Miss and I was at A&M. We both, you know, recruited the Metroplex down in Dallas. Always really admired Tom, you know, again, just his background, his passion. You know, he and I didn't really know this. I obviously grew up at Carmel, and he was a year younger in Newcastle growing up, and I can remember playing up at Newcastle as a sophomore, and Tom obviously was a freshman, but it was a playoff game, and so our paths crossed a long time ago. You know, we really never even knew it, but just, you know, Tom's passion, his energy, just the standard that he represents from a defensive standpoint. Those are always things that I really admired about him, and being with him the past few weeks, it's been everything I expected. It's been a lot of fun, and you know, I think we've been able to come in and get acclimated with the other defensive coaches that are here. And I say it hasn't been perfect, but spring ball so far, it's kind of been ups and downs on both sides. It hasn't been one-sided, which is really what you would want from a team perspective. You know, offense has the better of us at times, and then we've come back and won our share of battles too. So there's been a good back and forth. But again, it's a pleasure to be able to work with Tom and these other defensive coaches. Like I say, we're trying to implement a standard, a way of going about our business, and I think our guys are starting to pick that up.
Talk about a young guy, Brandon Wilson, redshirted last year, defensive end. How's he kind of adjust? I think last year he was more at the bandit position, standing up. How's it going back, being put his hand on the ground?
Brandon can be a good player for us, and he just, you know, he has no idea right now. I think he thinks he's practicing hard, and he's making progress, but he's one of those guys that, again, is not even scratching the surface. And I think as a young guy, sometimes we expect as coaches that these guys maybe to understand the game like we do, and that's not fair. And we spend all day up in the room just talking football, watching video. These guys are obviously students. You know, football is just a piece of their life. And so he can be a good player for us. He's got to get bigger and stronger and more confident, and he's doing those things. I know he's a guy that maybe could have played some last year and didn't, and so it's nice to know that he's got, you know, a few good years in front of him. But he's making progress. I say he's not even scratching the surface right now, and I say we're both working in the same direction, and he's getting better.
What are some of the biggest things a guy like Generis Bowen can get out of these next few weeks?
You know, he's a guy that certainly looks the part, you know, and I ask him almost every day, are you sure you played defense before? Because he doesn't have a ton of snaps under his belt as a defensive player. I never saw any high school video on him, but he's a guy that maybe's made some of the biggest jumps just in the past week and a half to 2 weeks. You know, just going back to basics of how you play defensive line, and the thing that we're trying to get our guys to do up front is to play vertically. You know, I think these guys were used to being in more of a read and react. And I've been in those systems a few times in my career, And to be honest with you, they're not very fun to play from a defensive line standpoint, because really what you do is you play sideways and you end up just occupying blockers and allowing guys behind you to make plays. And I think in an attack system, an attack four-down system, you're not just blindly running up the field, but you're attacking that guy that you line up on. He's going to be the guy that you react to. So, again, first few practices, he was like a backyard football guy. I mean, ball was snapped, and he's looking for the ball, and he's getting blocked. And then we finally got his eyes corrected a little bit, and he's been a much better player the last few practices. So we're still taking baby steps with him, but I think he's a guy that, again, has got a skill set where he can help us. And we just, I oftentimes as a coach got to step back a little bit and you just go back to the basics with him, because he's really a novice in terms of playing D-line.
In terms of heading into some of these scrimmages in the spring game, what do you want to see out of the defensive line in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback?
Consistency. I think if there's one thing that I look at, I'm not sure we have a ton of guys that can just create their own pass rush up front. We're going to have to get creative. We're going to have to work together in terms of twists and rush games up front. We've got a couple guys that can create their own pass rush, but they've got to know when those situations are going to arise. They're going to have to know pre-snap when our offense is throwing the ball. They've got to have a plan in place, in order to set that offensive lineman up and beat them. But the thing I'm looking forward to is just being able to go out and get the coaches off the field and just be able to play a game. Not have us out there correcting them every snap. See where the leadership's gonna hopefully show up and do a good job communicating and making sure those guys are giving their very all play after play after play. And then when bad things do happen, because they always do, that's the ebb and flow of football. How do you react? So some of the base things I think not just myself but the rest of the defensive coaches are looking for. There's no doubt going against our offense, which has been one of the best in the country, they're going to challenge you. And just when you think, hey, we're doing some good things on defense, boom, they can strike in a heartbeat. Now, how are you going to react? Are you going to drop your head? You're going to pout? You're going to do those things, which, I think if you go back and look at the X number of years, there's been spurts of, good play on the defensive side of the ball, but there's been no consistency. And so that's what we're trying to develop, is some consistency, a standard of how we go about our business, and that's what we're hoping to look and see that we're making progress with those things when we get into some of these scrimmage situations.
All right.